Welcome back. We're going to review a few questions now.
Sure, Matt. I have a question for you again. Have you ever bought something from the Apple Store?
I have, but it's actually been a long time. A lot of apps are free, but then there's in-app purchases.
Right.
But I try to avoid those too. But in the past, I think I paid for some games and some things.
Right.
But these days, I don't really. But as for your question, I think if I had a choice, I would buy them directly from the developer if I could. I think.
But it's hard to find though, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes?
it's impossible with the Apple and Google systems, right? You have the
Right.
Apple Store and then the Google Play Store, right? You
Right.
have to go through these stores.
Because that's the
download
big
things.
platform.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, how are you going to find out? The developer, right?
Yeah. So the developers don't allow you to access directly to them. So Apple won't allow that. They
Right.
kind of put up this walled garden. So you can't do that.
Right.
But I would prefer to go directly to the developers and give them their full money.
Support, right?
Yeah, and
Right? Developers.
Yeah, so Apple doesn't get their cut.
Right, because they try to monopolize the whole system,
Sure.
obviously. But once again, in reality, it's hard to contact the developers, right?
Yeah.
Because you have you ever contact like directly to developer?
I think only in the area of support, troubleshooting, something like that. But to get the actual app to your iPhone, to your smartphone, Galaxy, whatever, it's impossible because of this monopoly.
Right, but do you think it's ethical? Which one is ethical? Like Apple Store, who's a bad guy? Who's a good guy? Like I don't know. It's like between fine line.
Monopoly.
Monopoly.
It's hard to say because Apple and Google are giving them access to
Right.
millions
Millions of people around the world, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So obviously that's not going to be free. They're going to want their cut of
Right.
the profits. So
Right.
I can understand that. I think it comes down to how much is the cut,
Right, there you go.
right? Is it too much? Are they taking too much? I think they are.
When we buy something from the Apple Store, we kind of our expectation is a little higher, right? Because it's appealing, I guess,
Sure.
right? Because we don't know the developer in person, so how much are we gonna trust that guy
Yeah.
or woman?
That's true. Yeah, there is a feeling of trust that comes with the Apple Store.
Apple Store.
That's one of the pros is the Apple Store, Google Play Store. You can trust them because they're huge companies, right? So
Trusted company.
yeah, there is. You don't have to worry about viruses or something.
Right.
So that is one of the advantages of using them. So
Absolutely.
I can recognize that for sure.
Do you think the court was right about the decision that made Epic pay Apple back for the lost revenues until now?
I think from a ethical standpoint, I don't know if I agree with the court, but I'm guessing there was some legal precedent and there was probably some contracts and legal things that Epic didn't quite follow. I'm sure they signed something.
Right.
So from a legal standpoint, the court's probably right. But from an ethical standpoint, I think it could set up precedent for this kind of monopoly to continue, and it hurts some of these small companies. But actually, South Korea is leading the fight against this. They were the first to pass anti-Apple, anti-Google laws that tries to prevent this kind of thing.
Really?
So a lot of people that are against this are kind of applauding South Korea. Like, you guys are out ahead of everybody else. Everybody should follow. That's it for today. We'll see you next time.